You all know the story. The disciples, Jesus goes up on a boat with them. They're headed to the other side. As they're traveling to the other side, all the writers of this story agree that a storm arose, which means it happened suddenly. Which, since we're here, let's just say that. If you're in life, if you're living life, how many know the storms of life can come suddenly out of nowhere? You don't have to be bothering nobody. You don't have to do nothing. Before you know it, you can be in a storm. Storm comes suddenly out of nowhere. The boat is being tossed by the storm. And what we teach in geography is why the storm comes. It's very important. Because of the way the Sea of Galilee sits, it sits in a bowl with mountains surrounding it all around. So if wind comes in and gets trapped in the bowl, it causes a very violent storm suddenly out of nowhere. And so the reason they are panicking is because they know these kinds of storms have claimed boats, they have taken lives. This is a serious situation. And you got to understand that when you have experienced something, you begin to respect the thing that you have experienced. One of the reasons kids don't pay attention to their parents is because they haven't experienced it enough yet to fear it. The reason we panicking because we experienced it already. And we say, hey, you don't want to do that. The reason Peter gets agitated every time there's a storm because he has nautical sense. He's a sailor. He's a fisherman. And he knows these things ain't nothing to play with. So whenever they see him, Peter's like, Peter, James, and John, the first people to start panicking. Why? Because they respect this thing. They know what it can do. Y'all with me so far? If you lived wild as a teenager and you made it through and you see your child start to get wild, you say, hey, trust me, you don't, because you lived it. And they crazy think they can handle everything. Why? Because they don't have enough sense to be afraid of it. The reason you panicking when they go, say, hey, don't sit your drink down. Because you know people got messed up like that. The reason you say, hey, if we come in 5 of us, we leave out 5 of us. We don't leave no man behind. Nope, you can't go with them. You got to go with us. Why? Because we've seen the worst happen, so it makes us respect it. In the text, they're not frightful simply because they're wimps in the spirit. They're frightful because this thing is real. In the life of believers, when you see a believer afraid, quit thinking they don't have any faith. They're afraid because it's real. It's real. Now, you're allowed to be afraid. You're not allowed to live in a spirit of fear. Bunch of preachers teaching that wrong all over the country, trying to tell believers, you should never be afraid. You crazy. You crazy. That's a natural human response. When something that is overwhelming to you happens, you should be afraid. But you should never live in a spirit of fear, because that would not have come from God, because God has not given us an animation, a premise of fear. But to be afraid is just a human response to something that's overwhelming to us. So, as a matter of fact, many times it is your fear that pushes you closer to the Lord. That's what this story is about. When they got afraid, they didn't jump over into the water. When they got afraid, they said, where is Jesus? Now, how many can say, ain't fear a great motivator to pray? Mess around and get afraid, you're going to lose your house, lose your child, lose your job. Won't it make you say, where is Jesus? Paging Jesus, paging Jesus. So they call Jesus, they go wake him up. Jesus looks up, sees what's going on. Here's the part I need for you to see. 39, and he arose and rebuked the wind. Pay particular attention. Is the wind uppercase or lowercase? Lowercase, wind. And said unto the sea, what? Now pay attention to that word. Is the word peace lowercase or uppercase? Woo, that's powerful. Because Jesus is talking to peace like it's a person. Now wait a minute. It says, and then the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. Now I want you to know that he checked the wind by speaking to the peace. Peace he talks to like it's a person. That's why it's a capital P. He's speaking, here's the word, anthropomorphically. That means to give inanimated objects human characteristics. So he gives it a name, capital P. Peace. You with me so far? Now the reason he can talk to peace like that, because peace is a part of him. Absolutely. You know, he is the prince. As a matter of fact, the Old Testament says the chastisement of his. So he sees it, and what he's saying is, I assigned peace. And right now, the wind has peace running around. The problem is not the wind, the problem is peace. Why are you letting the wind run you around like this? I need for you to be still. Now wait, as soon as peace stands still, the wind gets mad and goes home. Now watch me. When your child comes home with a problem, you don't talk to the child that's giving them the problem. You talk to your child and say, you don't let nobody worry you like that. You're talking to them. And once you ignore somebody that's picking on you, what do they always do? Peace, be still. And what God is saying to many of us in our life, if we would just be still, the wind would leave you alone. But as long as the wind knows it can make you run around like a chicken with your head off, it's going to keep blowing in your life. But mess around and be still and know that he is God. And that wind that's filling up your boat will get mad and go home. You can check what's ever happened in your life by speaking to the peace in you. It'll make everything else go away. And when the wind saw that peace wasn't going to let it pick on it no more, it grabbed its marbles and went home. Took its ball and went on home. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? And you cannot allow people who agitate you to make your life get so topsy-turvy that you don't know what you're doing anymore. And now the confusion in your life is contagious because you're letting the wind blow you all around. You're off task because you're letting the agitators agitate you. And listen, worse than any hater is an agitator. Because haters don't really have to confront you. It's the instigators and the agitators that trump haters every time. They just yap, 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 yap.